Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to the January 8th meeting of the Rhinebeck Village Board. First item on the agenda, Cecily Frazier from the Tree Commission is here to speak with us.
Your time. So I just wanted to talk briefly about what the Tree Commission has done this year, and then I'm going to mention in the course of that the pruning letter, and then we can go back and talk about that because we'd like to get your input and then your okay on that letter. Some of you have a longer, maybe everybody has a longer version of this note, but I just wanted to talk so people out in the community could hear what the Tree Commission has done. So this year we planted 51 trees. We plant in the spring, we plant in the fall, and it's roughly 50 in total every year. So the Tree Commission has been around for 3 years, and then before that there were Meg Crawford and other people who were planting trees. So there are already about 250 trees, young trees in the village.
And what time frame, Cecily?
In 5 years.
250 in 5.
Yeah. So these are the trees that need to be pruned that I want to talk about later, and they've been planted over that time period. So some are 5 years old, some are brand new. Some have been pruned slightly, and others have never been pruned. So there's kind of a mix of stuff there, and we'll come back and talk about that. There were a lot of removals this year. That's grown up over the 3 years of the Tree Commission as people in the village have realized that they need to do that. Now with the sidewalks, more people need to do that. And because before the Tree Commission, the village and even individuals sort of were ignoring their dead trees, we had an awful lot of dead trees. We're kind of catching up, I would say, and now that our dead trees removals are almost equal to the plantings, so we're sort of evening out. And I hope and foresee that in the upcoming years, the removals will fall off quite a bit. So the costs, because we've had all those removals, the costs have been quite high, especially this last year. There was $13,000 to prune the trees in the main part of the village in the core business district. There was $20,500 for removals, and those numbers do not include the trees taken out by Central Hudson, nor the trees taken out by the Highway Department. There's $3,000 for stump grinding, and then what's unrelated really to the Tree Commission but included in that line is $19,000 for chopping up brush and turning it into mulch. We're very grateful that the village clerk has taken upon herself to try to improve the record keeping of the trees so that we have a good list of how many trees and where are the trees that Central Hudson has taken out and where the Highway Department has. So next year we'll have a more definitive number. Because we had all of these requests and because we didn't have quite enough money, even nearly enough money to do what we had been asked to do by citizens, we have a backlog of pruning. There's quite a few people that have not had their trees pruned. And I hope that we can get to that. I hope that we can get enough money and that at the same time the requests for removals and pruning falls off a little bit so that we can get that done, because it clearly could be a potential risk for people and for their property. One of the other problems that we have that we've talked about in the past is the inability to plant large shade trees. There's no space in the right-of-way, and we have what we call right tree, right place, right tree, and meaning that you don't want to put a tree that's going to grow to be a gigantic size underneath the power lines. So we we plant trees that are appropriate to the place. So we have ended up planting many small flowering trees, very pretty trees, very lovely trees, but not the big trees that we're used to in our village. Not the trees that will arch over the road and make it look beautiful. So we've been working with a group called Relief to see if we can get some changes in the law in the state of New York that would allow us to plant large trees in people's yards. In Massachusetts, this law exists that you can plant large trees in people's yards, but we don't have it here. And Meg is going to a meeting on the 29th to talk about that, actually, so we're seeing how far they're getting down the road to that. It's a big concern, because if you think about how pretty this village is, because of the way that the trees look, in the summer, that will be gone. That won't exist, and it's really going to dramatically change the way that the village looks. So the other concern that we have is planning for the core of the village. We've had a lot of requests just recently for trees at the Beekman Arms and trees right around the center at the light to be pruned or removed. And we'd like to have some kind of plan, some specific plan, instead of doing it, tree by piece by, whole, a particular plan. And we don't have a plan. It's not that we have a plan that we want to present and have you approve. There is no plan, but we think there should be one. And that's something that the village board could try to consider as time goes on. The locusts will not live, I can't tell you, the locust trees are going to be dead in 3.5 years. There's no number that I can put on this, but they are failing, and they will be dead, relatively soon, maybe 10 years. I mean, we have time to make this plan, but it is something that's coming up that we need to consider. And in our meetings, we've talked about, making a request to the Frost Foundation or someplace else where we might get money to make that plan, but it's all just just a thought at this point. We have done a little bit of outreach. We did, as Emerald Ash Borer was coming, we did a talk at the library about tree diseases, and indeed then, soon after that, the Emerald Ash Borer was found in Dutchess County and will, really start to take out the trees. Fortunately for us in the village, the street trees, there are only 9 ash street trees, all of which are, not all of which, but most of which are being treated so they won't die from emerald ash borer. But individuals may have a shocking wake-up call if they have a lot of ashes in a large piece of property. They're going to have to take them down, and it'll be very expensive. So I just kind of want people to look around their yards and see if they have ash trees. If they have a question about, do you have an ash tree, they could call anybody on the tree commission, and we could come over and talk with them. But the emerald ash borer kills trees relatively quickly, and the nature of an ash tree is that it will die quickly and then fall down quite dramatically and can do a lot of damage. And certain trees out in the Midwest where this has become really a huge problem have actually gone bankrupt, where they had, all of their street trees were ashes, and they actually had to declare bankruptcy in those towns. Sadly, I just wanted to mention the retirement of Nicholas Doyle, who was on the tree commission at the beginning and did a lot of work for us. He is a certified arborist and a really knowledgeable guy, and so because of his work, he had to retire. So we miss him very much, and we miss all that he brought to the group, but we're very happy and lucky to have John Wexler take his place, and John is here tonight. He's a very enthusiastic and hardworking guy, so we're lucky for that, and also for all of you. You've been very supportive to the Tree Commission, the mayor in particular, and Howie, of course, but everybody here, I think, loves trees and realizes how important they are to the beauty of the village and to the way that it looks. So thank you. Then we can go back to this letter. It says, "Dear homeowner, winter 2013." And it's the letter that we propose sending to people who received these 250 trees, it's probably not quite 250 people, because some of the people have received more than one tree. But hopefully everyone who received a tree or trees would get this letter, be mailed to them by name, which we can find those names on the county website, and asking them permission to prune their trees. And we would not do it any a specific time, because it has partly to do with the tree itself. It has to do with us as a volunteer group, that we don't have, we have time constraints that limit us to when we can prune. But it would be in the first 5 years of the trees, so we're starting on those oldest of the young trees. And they would be pruned to perhaps lower the, raise the branches for clearance, and to prune out any dead wood, to change the look, to strengthen the crotch. It's pretty important that the trees get pruned to save money for the future, because what happened originally when all these trees were put in, or just kind of started to grow really over time, it was a haphazard thing. And we're now kind of paying the price for that, because the trees are not as healthy nor not as well cared for as they might have been if they'd gotten pruned. So what comes with this letter is a postcard, and you just got just a piece of paper that says, "I agree to allow the Village Tree Commission to prune my street tree." And the person would sign it and then send it back to us, and that would be the permission. And then we also mention in the letter some healthy things about the tree: watering and weeding and taking care of it. So do you have questions or comments, or?
I'd just like to throw out there that, I'm always in favor of talking to the property owners. You all know that. However, we're putting ourselves in a rather, I think, a tenuous position, because understand, the right-of-way gives us the authority to go there and
Yes.
do this if we have to.
Right.
All right? What happens if we get a bunch of people that say no? They don't sign the signature card.
Well, that's the
can't-
concern we've had, all
can't-
along when we've been talking about this.
And
So,
my
yeah.
feeling is what we should be doing is not asking them for permission, just notifying them that we're going there to
Okay.
prune the tree.
Okay,
Because
so we can take out.
we want to be proactive about making sure these trees grow properly.
Right,
And, you guys have invested all your time, and the village has invested money to purchase these things. Let's maintain them the right way. Let's just inform the people that we're going to be there to do the work.
okay.
Yeah.
I think that's fine with us.
Right.
And we can certainly change all of this, but certainly the second sentence that says, "We request your permission," we can just say, we, are informing you that we're coming.
Yeah, we will be coming
We will be coming.
to do tree maintenance.
Right.
Yeah. And that way, we're not going to run into a situation where, you could have a whole street and
No, it's true.
people might not want you to prune the trees.
No, absolutely.
So then you wouldn't have to send out a postcard at all? Just a letter?
Yeah,
Oh,
just a letter
okay.
notifying people that tree maintenance is going to be done.
Well, why don't we inform them, we get permission from the people when we plant the tree originally, so we can also,
We can do that proactively when we.
Yeah, kind of
Well,
inform.
and I think there, what it is you don't want to plant a tree in somebody's yard where they don't want it.
Right, oh, we've
Well,
never planted any trees where people don't want trees.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but
Because we're asking them, we do ask them at the beginning to water, to weed, not to mow into
Right.
the tree. And when they don't want the tree, we don't want to give them a tree, because the tree's not going to survive.
Sure.
Yeah, we've had people turn us down in the past for
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
tree plantings.
Yeah. And it's always curious to me, because I love trees, but, relatively large number of people say no. And that's fine. They can do what, it's their property, they can choose. Okay, I will change that. Do you want to see it again, or are you okay with Howie making
I
that
think,
decision?
just send it to Howie and he can proof it and
Okay,
we'll be fine.
okay.
Ceci, I have one question. There's some areas in the village that are relatively new, like Stotini Drive, Trumpet Drive, and so
Right.
on. And they have all new trees planted there. And these trees, a lot of them growing wild.
Yes,
And
yes.
Are you going to be including these? Now, they have partly been planted by people themselves, like myself. I pruned mine years ago before
Right.
it was need the permission. But there were other people who planted them, and then the developer has planted them. But some of them are just growing absolutely wild.
And
You
are
cannot
these
even walk.
trees in the right-of-way?
They are all in the right of way, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They're between the curb and the sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
Yeah.
Will, what do you think?
I mean, if we have time, I would be happy to do it, certainly. It would be, I suppose, it would be, I don't know what happens. These streets get adopted then by the village, they are adopted by the village. They no
Village
longer
already
belong-
has,
They
right?
no longer belong to the developer to
Yeah.
maintain, correct?
Correct.
The other question I have is, you said your chief arborist is retiring. Have you got any other people that are arborists in your organization?
No, arborist, Meg is a,
Yeah, Meg, I know.
an
Yeah.
owner of a,
I mean,
Yeah,
if
but she's on.
out there, when you're, now that we're speaking to the general public here, I mean, I think, we did make a request for volunteers for new members. It was a couple months ago, and Nicholas could no longer do it. Nobody came forward at that time. I think the tree commission would love to know of arborists within the village or town that are interested in this, and certainly if we don't have an opening on the board, we would love their services at any time to help us.
How about some outreach to some tree companies?
we did do that at the beginning, and we didn't get really any results, except, what's the man from, who came and talked to Integral, somebody from Integral came and helped us out, more with sort of information rather than work itself, but, yeah. Nicholas has offered to, to do what he can do, and we could invite him back. We have given several workshops on tree, did you come to those, to tree pruning? And we could repeat that and see how we do. I'm a master gardener, and certainly there are people in the village who know, they're not arborists, but they know something about tree pruning. So I think it's a good idea, but we haven't got anybody as clearly. I mean, Nicholas was professionally a pruner. I mean, he was an arborist, but his focus was pruning, so he really was the master pruner, unfortunately, for us. So, okay, well, thanks so much for your time.
Okay,
and
thank
we
you,
will-
Cecily.
Before you leave, I want to personally thank,
Thank you, Meg.
I want to personally thank everybody on the tree commission, and I'm going to name them: Cecily Frazier, the chairwoman. We have Meg Crawford, who is here, our new member, John Weschler, and we have Jason Hemnick, Cynthia Fennell, and Tess McKellen. I'd like to thank them for doing all the hard work they do. They're very passionate about the trees, and they have actually made me become a tree hugger, as you guys joke about that, but they've opened my eyes to how important it is about the urban trees that we have here in Rhinebeck.
And it's interesting, Howie and I were talking yesterday when we were talking about the solar panels on this building, and you see the carbon offset. We get a report, monthly report, and it's amazing what it equates to, how much energy we're saving in the carbon we're offsetting with these solar panels. And you think about the number of trees, you talk about 250 trees. In the last year with the solar panels, we've saved over 250 trees. So, so the value is pretty important.
That's one of the reasons I feel so passionately about the large trees, because a large tree like an oak or an elm or a sugar maple, which we're not really going to be able to grow here anymore, but they are tremendously effective in carbon sequestration and in water sequestration and all kinds of really wonderful things that they do for us as people who live on the earth. So they're very important.
Okay, thank you.
Is Victor here?
Yes, Victor's here.
Oh, for something else, not for the,
Victor's here for Thompson Mazzarella Park.
oh, okay.
What was?
Well, we have this grand plan of the four corners in downtown. This is Victor here. He's a grant writer, so maybe you can talk to him later.
Recruiting you for more business, Victor.
No.
Hand out your cards.
Victor, you're up next.
All right, good. We'll do it. In actuality, if you'll allow me for 2 minutes to continue the conversation, have you looked at any of the really successful new disease-resistant elms that they've genetically engineered?
No, have you, Meg?
What's that? I'm
I got
sorry.
the disease-resistant elm.
There are apparently a major breakthroughs that have, in the last 18 months to 2 years on them. And I know from being around Rhinebeck for 35 years that Rhinebeck was renowned for its elms at one point, wasn't it? Down Route 9, nobody remembers.
Well, yeah, there are some.
Right.
Yeah.
We have planted some of the disease-resistant species.
Mhm.
Some of the disease-resistant species are crosses,
Yes.
but so they don't all have the beautiful, majestic shape that
Right.
an elm has.
Right.
They're resistant, so we are trying to introduce them,
Mhm.
but people should know that unfortunately, many of them will not have that,
Right.
but they do grow very quickly for benefit.
Well, I think that it might be an opportunity to get some donations or some grant-funded donations of, if you were looking at, as you were talking about, sort of a master plan of making an attempt at restoring something based on historic photographs with, even though it's not quite the same thing, it would be sort of related in a way, it would be appropriate. I'd be happy to work on that as a volunteer. I wouldn't mind scoping out
People
some
would be
funding sources.
Perfectly willing to have you
Yeah, I
work
would
with them
be
as a volunteer.
happy to do that. Happy to do that. All right, give me a call. We'll sit down and we'll talk. Okay.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to mention Father Richard McGinn from the church is very keen on the new disease-resistant chestnuts.
Ah,
All
yes.
kinds
Okay.
of people interested in.
Well, you know, it could be a really nice demonstration project, and a very big and a draw for Rhinebeck as far as its visual qualities and enhance its tourist base. So, good publicity there. I'm submitting to you the first of what will end up being now 2 resolutions. Sorry, I did send you one by email, but only about an hour ago. So you have it in.
Actually, the one that I got, you said you were attaching, but there was no attachment.
Oh, it didn't go through.
Email
It
I
was
got.
attached when it left my computer. Sometimes they
Okay.
detach. But so what this is essentially is we're pulling the Thompson-Mazzarella Park scope of work apart and trying to fund individual pieces of it. There is a grant, which is a monthly grant that goes to the New York State Department of State, that is the Local Government Citizens Reorganization Empowerment Grant, which basically is an incentive for communities, particularly towns and villages, or towns that are associated, that are cheek by jowl, to come up with ways to incorporate or share services or some of the amenities that they provide for their communities. What I'm interested in asking for, and we can ask for up to $50,000, does not require a match, is to cover the costs of the final legal review for the intermunicipal agreement that the town and the village have been working on, and to fund additional engineering for the water and wastewater infrastructure, and perhaps even some of the road work for the park, which is, from my point of view, the first phase is to get the infrastructure in and then build upon it as we can. We have also, subsequent to having these engineering studies, identified some of the funding sources that we're going to go after and employ. The Green Initiative Grant Program actually will fund the permeable hardtop that we're going to be putting into the parking lot and the roadways. And we're going to try and use that as our leading edge to get some parks money and some local waterfront revitalization funding in the context of the broader CFA process. This does mean that I've got to sit down with Scenic Hudson and with the Maris people, because they seem to be in control of how the money's spent in this section of the region right now. We'll see how long that lasts. But that is coming up in the spring, and I'd like to get some of the engineering completed by that point if we could. In addition, 2 days ago, the governor's office announced a new round of the major portion of the LGE, which is due on March 13th, I think it is, and which is, again, a joint municipal request, with one of them being lead agency, for implementation funds for joint projects up to $200,000. What I need to do is figure out what is a quantifiable cost savings that I can demonstrate in the context of implementing that. I mean, there is a cost savings in that the two municipalities here are working to develop and maintain one large recreational resource to serve both communities. That is one aspect of it. But I need to look into more practical things, savings to the taxpayer to have one large park instead of two. I have to sort of sit down and make a list of what I could quantify, but I will probably be back to you next month with that listing of stuff, and we'll say to you, we'll ask you to consider a similar resolution for a larger amount of money. Is there any questions?
I don't have any.
Okay. Good, then I,
So we need a vote on this, correct?
Board wants to adopt it, needs us to start the process.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted.
great.
Lisa,
Okay.
you gotta sign it.
Would you like me to send you a copy that you could put on village stationery? Did you print out?
Yeah, that probably be better.
Okay, good. I'll have to by the morning. And this time, confirm that you've received the attachment. Okay.
Yes, I will.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Victor. Thank you. Okay, department reports, wastewater, Brant?
For December, we had 3.53 million gallons of wastewater treated, 85,800 gallons of sludge processed, 13,160 pounds of sludge processed, 23.1 cubic yards of sludge processed. A relatively quiet month. As far as the sludge press replacement project, the press has been ordered. It's an 8-week lead time, so that's the time lag with that project. And standard construction is going to be in, I believe, on Friday, and sign the contract with you, Jim.
They're supposed to be in, Paul and Emo and I are supposed to meet at 10 o'clock.
Right, okay. We have ordered a backup pump for the Village Green lift station. We're just going to have it in stock, or we're going to have it, waiting in case one fails. I do have one item, though. We are undermanned because Don Hackett has been out since May. And we do have a certified operator, Ed Herwig, who's only working 16 hours a week, and this month is unable to work several weeks. So Anthony Gasparini has been out. He spoke to a person who's interested, Kyle Patrick Moore, in working on a part-time basis as a laborer, temporary laborer for a 90-day project. He was very enthusiastic about the prospect. It would be for 24 hours a week. He could do general maintenance, tank cleaning and things like that, and get involved perhaps in testing, laboratory testing and things like that. So it would be very helpful if we could hire him on a temporary basis. I look at it as like we brought on Mr. Deneau, temporary, for a temporary hire, and people are clearing snow, and
You
so
wanna put it in the form of a motion, Brent?
I'd like a motion to hire Mr. Kyle Patrick Moore for a 90-day period for approximately 24 hours per week, which is not full-time, to be a temporary laborer at the wastewater facility at $14.50 an hour.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about the 90 days. Does it have to be below 90 days to,
6 months is the civil service.
we went through this with the highway department, I thought it was,
I think
89.
according to Stu, it's 90 days.
90 days.
I mean, 89 days, or?
Well, we
once
have
you
to
hit-
check it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, and
I
he's
think if it's
part-time.
more than 90 is the way it's worded, but we should check it.
And the part-time issue, does that change that anyway?
Well, I think what it is if they work for you as a part-timer more than 90 days, then they're subject to being, even though they're still part-time, they're subject to
Well, Ed's
some
not
type
gonna
of
be in,
benefits.
Ed's not gonna be in the union, I don't believe. I don't know. You wanna
We'll
make
look into it.
Yeah, we'll look
Yeah.
into it.
I mean, you could adopt it just subject to clarification by Stu.
Right. Or
As
we
long
could
as
just adopt it for 89 days, and then we don't need to.
I'll clarify it with Stu.
Yeah, well,
It's not to exceed 90 days.
Right.
That's what I was told.
Not to exceed.
That's what I understood. I'll clarify it with Stu.
Right.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Anything else, Brett?
That's all I got for now.
Okay, Water Department, Mr. Sauer.
We had a net treatment of about 11,445,000 gallons this month. We experienced 2 water main breaks in December, one of them near Crossmoor Road and one of them near Platte Avenue. Examining the carcasses of the breakage, it looked like both of them had similar failure mechanisms on them. They both broke at the intersection of the male and the female, and cracked there apparently from either moving earth or the same. On the south Parsons, yes?
Under blacktop?
No, they were about 4 or 5 feet under. Yeah, under blacktop.
But they were under blacktop.
Under blacktop, both of them, yes. But one of them was near a big rock, within about a half an inch or so, and that was a bit of a problem. South Parsonage trunk line relocation is the pipe was treated and it passed. Was pressurized and passed pressurization, and we got improvement on the regulatory organizations to proceed with removing some of the water that is in the trench, and all of that will start happening on Thursday and Friday, and I'm told as of this afternoon that it's going to be probably a line stop implemented for Friday morning, and Tom Wallbank is going to fill up the tank at the reservoir at about 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to be done by 8 in the morning, and so then he's going to shut off the pumps so we don't have any pumping going on while the line stop happens. So we think that by Friday we should be, by end of Friday, we should be connected, the old section with the new section. Now, I had got a hold of Nancy to find out what the additional cost is for all of this, and her estimate was somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000, and that does not include what A.W. Kuhn has, if they have anything. They have not put anything in yet, but it is mostly for environmental consultants, the waste haulers, and landfill up in Albany, and additional engineering that for Erdman and Anthony.
Also, it's Anthony's feeling that we're probably saving about 10 grand by taking the.
Right.
Yeah.
So that'll be helpful.
Put the water over to the plant.
Now, I have one small thing here. It's actually not so small, but I need to fill up my capital reserve budget. And the reason I have to do that is that number one, some of the engineering costs that I thought was going to be put into the engineering bucket, which Lisa tells me we don't have anything to do that. She's taken out of the capital reserve budget, and then on top of that, there is about the additional $25,000 to $30,000 for the additional costs in there. So I guess I have to make a motion to transfer $60,000 from the water department fund balance into the capital reserve fund
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
How much is in the,
There is right now, there is about $90,000 left, and I have to, the next item I'm gonna come up, we have to pay W. Coombs, and so 65,000 is gonna come out of there. So, anyway.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? So voted.
The second item, I got an email from Nancy to have an application for payment for the time for A.W. Kuhn from the October timeframe or November timeframe till December 31st, to the tune of about $65,550, which is about 2/3 of the cost, total cost. She and I both have looked at the remaining work that needs to be done, and the remaining dollars, which are $32,900 approximately, should cover that. So I assume I have to make a motion here to pay A.W. Kuhn.
No, we already authorized the expenditure of the funds when we approved this job. Lisa just got to pay the bill.
Just, okay. So, all right. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about is, I'm going to restructure, and that's going to be part of the budget discussion here, but I wanted to rename the a general capital reserve fund, and want to make it specific to the transmission for line repair and so on, because we have we have this system here, which is going to cost us about $150,000, plus we have line breakages and so on. So rather than having just a general one, I want to have one for just for the line repairs. I'm going to come back and ask some for the hydrants. I'm going to ask them for the reservoir, which we have to do, and we have to do some repair work in the plant, particularly painting and so on. We have a lot of corrosion going on there. So my question here is that I'd like to change the name of the budget line item to reflect redefine it from a capital equipment reserve to a water distribution reserve.
Well, you're going to have both, aren't you?
Actually, I was going to well, I can have both, yes. But I want to specifically identify projects that we have. I want to put line items in there so we can track
Right.
them.
I mean, I think we know, well, I think what we've all learned over the course of being on the board is that we can do a better job of itemizing things in our budget, in our departments, to get a clearer picture of how we're
Right.
spending funds.
Right.
My belief is you're still going to need a capital equipment reserve, but now what you want to do is you want to have a distribution reserve.
Sure, right.
And
Yes.
that's just a matter of creating another line item,
Right.
but not eliminating one. You're not
No,
proposing eliminating the capital equipment
Well,
reserve,
it's,
right?
my sense is that when we do planning, budget planning, we should identify what it is that we want to do in the next 5 years or so. And then identify that and then fund these things. And we have discussed that in prior years, so that when the time comes to expend it, the fund, they are there. Given for instance, the lagoon, we know at some point we got to clean that lagoon. It may be 5 years, maybe 6 years from now. It's going to cost $250,000, maybe $300,000. That's what the past was. And so what I want to do is have a specific line item for lagoon, which I want to fund the CSA for $50,000 from the general water fund. Okay, so I get your point. I say yes.
Right. And,
But when-
funding all of these things, what's the total reserve that the water fund has right now?
$92,000, I think.
No,
is in
it's
there.
got to be more than that.
No, because we already paid bills out of it. I just happen to have it here. It's talking about water fund. We have $92,838 in there. We
Thought we had several $100,000 in
No.
a reserve fund.
No. The
Capital
fund
equipment
balance.
reserve
I'm
is
talking
spread
about
out
capital
between all of
equipment
them.
reserves.
I said, well, how much is in the fund balance, the water fund balance?
770.
Okay.
That's what I was
All right,
asking.
so my picture of what we're trying to do here is establish these new line items in these departments.
Departments.
And then we need to take money from
From
that
there,
and
that's-
transfer it into there.
That's what I said.
Because if we don't, that means we're gonna have to raise taxes. in
No,
order
no,
to
no, no,
fund
no,
it.
you're absolutely right. No, but that, I thought
Okay.
that's what I said. Maybe I
We've
was
done
not.
this with the police station. We set this up with a bunch of different clients.
Right.
So we
Right.
just need to move on, you know,
I just wanna make sure everybody understands that we're not talking about raising taxes here.
yeah.
We're gonna
No, no.
fund
It's
all of
not
this
taxes,
stuff.
it's water.
no, he's got
Water.
700,000 in fund.
You know?
Yeah.
You gotta make sure you
Oh, I know.
explain
Well,
it.
that's why I asked the question before, but then when you said 90,000.
A lot of people think their
I was-
taxes pay for this,
I knew there was more than
okay?
90-something thousand.
And they don't. The users pay for it.
Right.
We have $90,000 in the capital reserve and 770 in the fund balance.
Okay, so-
But the 90,000 in the capital reserve is essentially spoken for.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So don't you want to have more than one line? Like,
Yes,
don't you
I
want to have
do.
hydrants and?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
I
you
do.
could
But
say
I want to do that
hydrants, capital transmission.
in another month or so. I think we're going to start a capital planning process. And at that point, I'm going to tell you that I would like to put line item for the reservoir.
We'll talk about all of that in the budget
Right.
meetings.
Okay.
We're gonna see a lot of each other in the next several months.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, you're right, Heinz.
The last thing I want to talk about is, I got from Tom Wallbank, a piece of, a request that talks about sharing utilities, sharing equipment for utilities and so on, and that is both for water and for wastewater. It is it's sponsored by the American Water Works Association, and they want to create a wastewater quick response network. I have talked to Anthony about that also quickly, and he seems to be favorably inclined to that. It is a mutual aid assistance program, and it's voluntary and it doesn't cost anything, and so on. And I have all the documentation for it, and I think I would like our lawyer to look at it as well, Rich, okay? I'm going to leave copies for you here and for the board. I don't have the copies yet, but it sounds like this is a thing that we may want to look at. Particularly if you need special equipment, if you have some kind of a natural issue, a disaster or something like that, and
Liz,
it
thank you.
comes down, so you can help with that. So that's all I have.
How about this
What is that?
vacation buyout request?
I
Frank
didn't-
Johnson?
Oh, I didn't see that. When did it, must have come today. Well, okay.
I don't know. Yeah, it's got today's date on it, the 8th.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, Craig Johnson wants to have a buyout of 40 hours of accumulated vacation time,
Just make a motion.
and I want to make a motion to grant that buyout for 40 hours.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted. Okay, fire department. Call volumes. For the month of December 2012, EMS calls in the town, 21, EMS calls in the village, 26, for a total of 47. Fire calls in the town, 11, fire calls in the village, 7, for a total of 18. Motor vehicle accidents, 1 in the town, 1 in the village, for a total of 2. So we had a total of 33 calls in the town, 34 calls in the village, 67 calls total. For the year, December 2012, in the town, 226 EMS calls, 189 fire calls, 38 motor vehicle accidents, for a total of 453. In the village, 369 EMS calls, 105 fire calls, 17 motor vehicle accidents, for a total of 500. That gives us in EMS calls total for the year 554, fire calls 282, motor vehicle accidents 78. Grand total for the year, all calls 914. I just got this report today, so I haven't had a chance to compare the numbers to last year, but I think we're going to see a significant increase. I'm willing to bet it's probably 10% or better. I'll report more on that next month. As usual, the people downstairs are doing a fantastic job responding to calls, taking care of things. We have 2 new members to vote in. We have Tiffany Lawson, and she is coming in as a firefighter. And we have Jamie Hateman is coming in as a probationary firefighter. So I'd make a motion to approve those 2 members. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted.
Do we ever hear if anybody leaves there? At the fire department?
Do we hear if they leave?
Yeah, are they gonna report?
I can ask them to.
Because we, in the time I've been here, we always new people, lots of new people. I'm just wondering what the,
You want
Just
some
having
type of a list or a count as to, a head count, you mean?
well, maybe an end of the year report or something like that.
I can ask them for that.
you know.
Okay, the fire company, of course, has just voted in new officers. They will be installed this Saturday at the Grand. They have their annual installation dinner down there. So the board needs to approve this slate of officers. Rick Dorr will remain the chief. Kevin Asher will remain the first assistant chief. Nate Planbeck will remain second assistant chief. Eric Stroka as the captain. John Gay as first lieutenant. Becky Stroka as second lieutenant. Julie Hart is coming back again this year as the EMS captain. Becky Asher will be the EMS first lieutenant. Tim Day, the fire police captain. Ryan Hateman, the first lieutenant for the fire police, and John Keel, the second lieutenant for the fire police. I'll make a motion to approve those officers. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. And just for informational purposes, their own in-house officers for civil purposes. Bill Stroke is the president. Ken Scattergood is the vice president. Marissa Burns, the secretary. John Imparello, the treasurer. Leanne Trout, the financial secretary. Sandy Williams is the first board of director, and Scott Fisher, the second. I would just like to thank all of these folks for all the time and the effort they put in over here, and the fantastic job they do serving our community. My hat's off to them. And I
So
hope
is this the whole slate of people in the fire department?
these are the line officers
Line officer,
when they
okay.
fight fires. This is their own Rhinebeck Fire, Inc. slate of officers. They approve these, we don't.
Okay,
These we approve. These are the ones that are using all the village equipment. Some of these people are also firefighters.
yeah.
Can I get a copy of that from you? Thank you.
Okay, next item I have, the older chief's car, which is a 2002 Dodge Durango, has 90,391 miles on it. Basically, the engine's shot. And it needs a couple other things on it. So we got an estimate from J&J Automotive for $5,374.68 to fix this thing. Personally, I don't think it's a very prudent decision to spend that much money on a vehicle with 91,000 miles on it. So that bears the question. What does the village board want to do? Do we want to purchase a brand-new vehicle at state bid price, which will probably come in around $32,000 by the time we get all done? Or fix this one? Or other options?
What's the
I
name?
asked them, right now we have that Durango and then we have a Ford Expedition. So this vehicle, if we were to buy a new vehicle, the new vehicle would replace the Expedition. The Expedition would go down to the second chief.
So this is
So-
the second chief's car?
This is the one the second chief drives now. I asked the chief, I said, do we need a full-size vehicle like that? A big Expedition? And he said, no, basically we can go with something smaller. He said, actually, though, that the Expedition, just because of the upgrades in the technology and computer systems, the Expedition got better fuel mileage than the Durango did, even though it's bigger and heavier. But, as technology advances, of course, they make them more fuel efficient. They're doing that all the time. So we need to decide what we want to do here, if we want to do anything at all.
What's the age of this vehicle?
It's a 2002, so it's 10 years old. It's got 9,100 miles, or 90.
We had discussions before
90,000.
about how many people need
Right.
cars,
Yes.
and I don't, make sure everyone's happy. We did talk about
Yeah.
whether the assistant.
That's why we're here. We're here to talk
Need
about
a
it.
car, yeah. I don't know. This is a Ford, what is it,
It's a Dodge Durango.
Dodge?
Mhm.
If we put $5,000 into it, are we gonna get another 60,000 out of it?
Yeah, it's
You
a,
don't know,
gonna be a,
right?
it's gonna be a remanufactured engine, a rebuilt engine. But what happens with a reman engine, you take parts off your old engine and bolt it on there. Water pump, you know, alternator, all
Yeah.
those kinds of things, you know? So,
What do you think, Howard?
Oh, well, I go along with what you're saying. We talked in the past about, does the second chief need a car?
Well, it wasn't I didn't bring it up, Wayne.
Oh, nobody wants to admit it, but I'll say something. I don't care.
it's been a topic
Been on
of
the
discussion
table.
before, and,
So-
you
so we
know,
have-
we're in very difficult financial times right now.
Right, and then they're
You
talking
know,
about a new.
They have money in equipment reserve, all right? We can take the money out of the equipment reserve to buy this thing, but that's money coming out of the equipment reserve that can't be used for other things.
We have another big
Yeah.
vehicle what's coming up that's gonna need
Well, we have a bond that will retire on a piece of equipment, but an old piece of equipment's gonna need to be replaced. So
And
we're
we
gonna be
may be
right
able to-
back into a position where we're gonna have to bond a new piece of
We
equipment again.
talked about bonding that one.
Yeah.
Now, we have 4 vehicles like this?
No.
Two of them. And we got one
Chief?
We have
chief.
chief, we have 59-1 is the chief's car, and 59-2 is the second, or first chief's car. We have a chief, a first chief, and a second chief, and the first two are driving village-owned vehicles. Actually, the first chief isn't driving one right now, because the thing is shot. It's sitting up at J&J Automotive.
What do you think, Jim?
Well, I mean, like I said, the money is in the equipment reserve. I think if this board says, okay, I think the fire company needs to decide, is this a priority? Are there other things they need to equip themselves with that are more important than this?
You wanna go
And
back
that's
to
what,
them?
yeah, well, that's what we need. We need them to make that decision.
Okay.
All right? I'm not opposed to buying the chief's car. If the money's coming out of the equipment reserve, the money's already there. But if we deplete the equipment reserve, we don't have money to buy something else,
Right.
you know? So we have to give them that decision to make.
And I've heard they need more firefighting equipment that,
Well,
Turn the
we're
codes or
coming to,
whatever.
I think I reported on it last month. You and I were here talking with them that one night, you know, and all of these mandated things
Well, these
about
radios need to be
equipment.
brought into compliance, right? Or the new radios?
You got radios, their firefighting gear, you know, there's certain specifications that has to meet. You know, they sent 2 guys for training, and they got sent back home because their firefighting gear didn't meet
right, that's
specifications.
that's what I've heard.
Now, if they fix the car, would this come out of the equipment reserve too, or would this come out of the operating budget?
Well, it would have to come out of repairs and maintenance.
Repairing it, yeah.
It doesn't mean- So it does not come out of the equipment reserve.
Right.
We could fix it and kick the can down the road and see what happens.
You know, I mean, I'll go back to them, I'll have a conversation with them. and
Did
see what
they-
I think we would probably need to see what else it is that they have when we go into the planning cycle, which is gonna happen very soon, to get the complete picture of what it is that they asked for.
Well, but the way we have to look at this is, we've got X amount of months left in their fiscal year right now, and they have X amount of dollars in their equipment reserve,
Yeah.
all right? What do you have to buy between now and then, all right? Because once that money's gone, there's no more money there to buy equipment with.
I mean, there's nothing gonna get refilled with that equipment reserve.
Exactly, they gotta live by the budget, you
So
know?
how much is in their equipment reserve right now?
I think 60-something.
Around there.
Why did we, I don't understand why we have so much left. What were we planning to do?
No,
This
they-
last
Well, they want to buy
2
another.
quarters.
pump
Well, we've been
truck or
putting money in
something.
every year.
I know, but what
You know?
were we,
Well, that's why I
I can't
think
remember, I don't recall what we.
I think we should sit down with them and get an idea of what in totality they're looking for.
I will have a meeting with the chief.
Be happy to be there if you want me to. I still have the 2012 requests.
Okay. Street Department, Howie,
Okay,
Cross off there, there's, oh, you got the report. Just, we're not gonna talk about this tonight, because I just
Okay.
got that information today.
yeah. Okay, we've been doing service on all the trucks and plows and tractors in-house. Highway Department did cold patching and clean basins. Christmas Eve, they salted, and then on 12/26, the day after Christmas, they plowed. So we had a white Christmas, everybody was hoping for that. 12/27, huh? The kids were. On 12/27, they salted in the AM and plowed that same night. And on January 2nd, they did snow removal down here in the village. That took care of 2 storms that we had back-to-back. They also installed 16 new posts and signs at the driveways and corners. That means,
Those are the ones we had added to the vehicle and traffic under the village code.
yeah, no parking here to corner and so on. Mike would like to thank the village police for help with illegally parked cars when they were cleaning the streets. How many cars were parked? Okay, the village Rhinebeck Highway Department works hard and long hours to clear snow off our streets. Then we salt the streets to melt what is left. But unfortunately, residents then throw snow, and contractors also plow snow into the roads and leave it, and this creates a road hazard all over again. The village code states that this is a violation, so Mike is asking the residents and the snowplow contractors not to plow back on the streets once they've been cleaned. And he copied this for me. It's a code 9811, deposit on the streets, which everybody has a copy of. It says, no individual or entity of any kind shall deposit, throw, place, or strew, nor shall any individual or entity cause to be deposited, thrown, placed, or strewn any snow or ice upon any street, avenue, or roadway within the village of Rhinebeck. So we appreciate compliance with that.
So no snowballs either.
Snowballs, yeah.
Throw them all at Howie.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be hiding behind the trees. Okay. We've been taking our recycling to Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency, and it's been proven to be cost-effective. This is due to the Dutchess County Resource Recovery Agency closing their place down there in Poughkeepsie at the end of last year. And we also removed the potential road and power hazard, which was a split tree on Astor Drive. This work was done in-house. That's it for the street department. I just want to make note of one thing. I gave everybody the mulch sales. The street department, we pick up the brush and then we pay to have it turned into mulch. And I just wanted to note that last year, 2011, 2012, we were up to $11,770 of mulch sales over the previous year of $7,405, so that's around $4,000 more. And this year, we're on track to, we're halfway through, we're at $5,045, so that's about on track to around $10,000 or $11,000 also.
And how much should we spend on that?
Well,
What was it? 19 or 18?
well, we've spent, it costs around $10,000 to hire an outside contractor to turn the brush into mulch. Now, in the past years, we've been able to get that done in one cycle, 1 year, but last year we had to do it twice. But we also have a lot of mulch for sale right now, which is going to be sold, so. It's hard to judge how much a year. It's around 10, 11, 12,000 a year.
So how much we're losing on this every year?
Well, some years we break even. But last year we had to do it twice because we had a couple
So
storms.
now we have some inventory.
Now we have a lot of mulch inventory to sell, so it's hard to calculate it. We're probably losing a little money, but,
A little.
yeah. We can do an average over 5 years.
No, it's just,
Plus, we have to get rid of the brush, so it's
yeah.
a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, planning and zoning. Bob's having the usual sign pop-ups, and, continues to address them and make people aware of the sections of the code that apply. this afternoon, so I haven't seen the whole thing. Nothing significant in there. I want to bring to you, everybody's attention, now that we're talking about planning and zoning. I got a call, what was yesterday? Yesterday was Tuesday. It must have been last week, one day. I got a call from Jeff Kane from Kirchhoff Medical Properties. And he set up a meeting with me for yesterday, and he and Dave Ping is the CEO, of course, of HealthQuest, came to my office. And Northern Dutchess Hospital will be submitting an application to the planning board for an expansion. This is something that was talked about when they did the last expansion. This was going to be phase 2. So basically what's happening here is Northern Dutchess Hospital can't do this project. So Kirchhoff Medical Properties is coming into partnership with them. It's going to be about an 80,000 square foot expansion. First floor is going to be medical office space. Second floor will be 40 private med-surg rooms and then operating rooms, etc. Up on the third floor, there would then be retrofit to existing med-surg rooms and things in the old building. They would like to come, basically what's going to happen, this is going to probably go through the IDA, so there's going to be some type of a payment in lieu of taxes scenario come into play here. What they would like to do is come and address the village board. I have some brief notes on it here. They would like to come address the village board to present this, and what I suggested we do is have a public workshop and invite the public to come so everybody can hear about what's going on. They have already talked with the school district and the school board, because of course, because of this payment in lieu of taxes type thing, you know, it's going to affect the school board and us as the taxing municipality. So I said I would bring it up to the board's attention tonight. They would like to move on this as quickly as possible. I said, how about next month? And they said, fine. I don't think we should include it with a village board meeting, so I suggested to them, our next village board meeting is on the 12th, and that's the one I can't be at, because I'm going to Dutchess to that class. I suggested the following evening on the 13th, Wednesday night, up here, and, you know, we'll get the word out to the newspapers, get it out on the website, and have them come in, they can do their PowerPoint presentation, and let everybody know what's going on.
Jim, how many properties are involved in that?
What do you mean properties?
Well, where are they going to build it? I mean, they're losing tax revenue?
It's on the hospital campus.
It's on the hospital
So they'll
campus.
probably give them a long-term ground lease then, and then they'll.
Basically, what's happened is Kirchhoff builds the building, they keep the first floor and rent it out.
Right.
And then they lease the second and the third floors to the hospital. And then that all, after 35 years, it all grandfathers to the hospital. That's basically what happens.
So we'll have, how do we determine the pilot amount?
Well, they're gonna come in with an idea, this is all negotiable.
So the hospital,
We're gonna,
You know?
I've got an idea, we'll just assess it like everything else and get full value of that.
So, you know, my feeling is, we set this meeting up for the 13th and let them come in and make their
Okay.
presentation. And then we go from there.
You know,
I asked them what their timeline was as far as when they want to do this. How did I write it down? I think they were talking about starting in June or something like that, and being completed in 16 months.
They've got a significant parking problem there.
Well, there's a septic issue too. We're gonna be, if everything that we
Oh,
have
for the
planned gets
wastewater.
built out, we don't have, there's no wastewater capacity at the plant.
Break ground June of 2013, and 16 months to construct.
I tried to get a blood test there this morning, couldn't find it, I drove around 15 minutes trying to find a parking space in that area.
Wow. So what time, Jim, on the 13th?
Well, I didn't set a time with him yet, I just wanted to find out if you guys were agreeable. What time you want to go for? 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we gonna have a sketch? You think they're
Well,
gonna have a
I mean,
drawing? Oh, you got something already?
there is this thing here, it's got some conceptual drawings
Oh.
and stuff in it,
Can
and we can, at least you can make copies of this.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to see that.
And, I did some scribbling on it, but yeah, I'm sure they're gonna bring this all on a PowerPoint,
And this is gonna be February the.
February 13th, 7 PM. I am gonna call Joe Fallon too and sit down and have a meeting with him and perhaps discuss the idea. I don't know how big we could expect this to be, maybe use the auditorium at the school. I'll talk to Joe and get a sense from him, how he feels. All right?
So you're not gonna be here for the 12th?
I won't be here for the 12th, no. Howie's gonna have to run the meeting that night.
Moving up.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is police and court. Everybody has the incident report, right? Pete, you want to say anything about incident report? Tickets and all of that?
No, yeah, I can go over what I have for the last year. I'd like to start off first like, on the other letter that I have on the, snow ordinance code. I don't know if everybody got a copy of that, my request.
Yeah.
I was looking to amend Village Code 10915, snow ordinance, to make the time frame go from 12:01 a.m., which it is now, to 8 a.m., changing it then to it used to be 12:01 a.m. to 6 a.m., to coincide with the regular scheduled shifts with the police department. It would just allow us to effectively enforce the law, with the police and the scheduled shifts. Right now, the
Problem is now, from midnight till 6, we don't have an officer on duty.
that's
So
right.
you can't enforce it.
So sometimes what happens is I'll have officers stay over, on the C line till 1 or 2 a.m., or I've had officers come in, at 5 a.m., which sometimes leads into a little bit of overtime, depending on the shifts for that week. It would just make it a lot easier for enforcement purposes. So I was looking at that request, so when I understand you have to have a public hearing, put that out there to the public, and then we'll vote, right?
What's the board thinking? On board with it? Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's schedule it for next month's board meeting. It's no big
Okay.
deal. I wouldn't
Right,
expect
okay.
anybody to turn out about it.
Right.
And also calls for statistics. I presented to the village for the last several years. Let me just go through a few things on here, if everybody has a copy. You'll see arrests. I have 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012. You can see the increases. In 2009, 65 arrests. 2010, 75 arrests. 2011, 86 arrests. In 2012, 102 arrests. I also broke that down on a chart there from village and town, which we do a town patrol. When you see out of jurisdiction, that basically stands for warrant arrests, that sometimes we have warrants for other agencies. That's why that's on there. And then I also have the percentage of changes, the increases, that you can see there on the list. Also breaks down tickets for those 4 years, and also the changes in percentage. I also have the call volume on there for 2012. So you can see that the calls for service for 2009, 10, 11, and 12. 2009, 1,435 calls, total calls for service, and I broke it down village and town. And each year you'll see that goes up, 1,435 for 2009, 1,512 for 2010, 1,557 2011, and 1,641 calls for service 2012. And then I also broke that down village versus town. So, and then you can see the percentage increases, which I have there. So you see the percentage increase, from 2011 to 2012 is a 5.4% increase. Total to 2.8 on the village and 11.2 in the town. So I broke that down so everybody could see it for the last 4 years to see where the numbers are going. I also have tickets, which you see there. The tickets are down a little bit for 2012 due to the fact that as the call volume goes up, the officers are handling more calls versus issuing tickets. So it's not a big difference, but it has gone down a little bit. For 2009, it was 1,292. 2010 was 1,293. 2011, 1,322, and in 2012, 1,221. So when you're handling more calls for service, in the village, you're handling other things. So I wrote that down so everybody could see it.
Part of that could probably be reflected, well, no, we're still covering the shifts adequately.
Yeah.
We're covering the shifts, but with less people.
Right, I have two less people, yeah. So I have two open positions still. I haven't replaced them yet. I need to work on that. Officer Patron, obviously moved on to a full-time police position, and so did Officer Hastings, so. So that's what I have.
Okay, thanks, Pete.
Thanks.
Thanks.
We're going to set,
about what's transpired since our last board meeting. Some of this obviously you already are aware of, but I'll just briefly mention it. What has been accomplished since our last board meeting is the roof sheathing has been installed. All the interior partitions have been constructed. Windows have been installed. The exterior insulation and vapor barrier have been installed. Wood blocking on all the windows has been completed. The septic tank has been installed and approved by the Board of Health. Garage floor has been poured. The front porch has been poured and framed. All the plumbing rough-in is complete, including the waste lines in the basement out to the septic tank. A new conduit has been installed and trenched on the south side of the building from the service entrance to the generator pad by the existing police trailer. The antenna pad and LP gas pads have been poured, and the sidewalks have been formed and poured. I'll give you a brief synopsis of what the scheduling is. Presently, we do have a project meeting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock if anyone is interested in attending, and I'll have a better idea in regard to the schedule at that point. But what I know, based on my conversations with Bob Berry and Mike Davis from Meyer, is this. The roofing contractors are scheduled to be here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and they will initially install the ice and water shield on the roof, and then the roof covering, which will probably take about 4 days. So I know we got some weather coming in at the end of the week. Hopefully we'll have it watertight before that. The reason that they were actually scheduled to be here this morning, but because we poured the sidewalks today, they put them off for a day, just because we had wet concrete all around the building, and it just wasn't pertinent for roofing. As a result of the building not being watertight, we have not been able to do the electrical and mechanical rough ends. So that is scheduled for the beginning of next week. Once we get the building watertight, the electrical contractor and the mechanical contractor will be on site to rough in everything. All of the ductwork was actually delivered today and put in the garage area. And then after that, the interior installation will be installed. The door frames, all the metal door frames will be installed. The interior stairs are scheduled for the 25th. Temporary lighting and heat. And then we've also initiated the installation of the siding and trim. They're already starting to work on that on the south side of the building, and that will continue, obviously. So that's pretty much the schedule as of what I know presently. That will take place before we have another board meeting. Wanted to bring you up to date a little bit on the generator bids. I know that we had talked last board meeting a little bit about, and I had given you some information in regard to the portable generator bids. Initially, I was under the impression that the contract stipulated that we were only responsible to actually supply the portable generator.
This isn't portable though, right?
No, not portable, in place. The emergency generator. And I had given you some information last month in regard to some of the bids that I had gotten in regard to the procurement of the generator. Then I was informed by our architect that actually the contract stipulated that our electrical contractor was not responsible for anything outside the building. So his responsibility entailed the installation of the transfer switch in the basement, and then we were responsible for everything after that, which included the trenching and the installation of the conduit and the wiring to the porta generator, as well as the procurement of the generator. So as a result of that, I had to go back to everybody that I had asked for prices and I asked them to give me another price, which included the actual installation of the pipe, of the wiring, and the startup of the generator, the procurement of the generator. So I've been in the process of meeting with, Brant and I actually met with one of the guys today, and he's in the process of getting us a bid, and then I have another meeting on Thursday with Gentech, who is another firm that we're getting a price from. So by the next board meeting, I should have all the information that I need to give to you as far as 3 bids, as far as all of the information that you need to make a decision on the portable generator. Well, I already have one bid. It's in the $18,000 range, and I'm fairly confident that the other 2 bids are going to be somewhere in that based on what I've been told so far. Also want to make mention that we did have a change in the basement ceiling. We had initially specified a styrofoam insulation on the ceiling that was going to be covered by sheetrock, but because of space requirements and the ductwork between the joists, we changed the spec and we went with a fiberglass blanket insulation, which gave us more room for the ductwork and gave us more headroom. So as a result of that, we made a trade-off with the mechanical contractor. Because of the cost of the insulation was less going with the blanket insulation, we were able to upgrade the boiler to provide more capacity, and we're also going to be able to provide some actually heat in the basement area that we didn't have initially. So we just kind of traded off on that based on the costs. So we actually are accruing more capability in the boiler. We're also going to have some heat flow and in the basement area, just cut down on the dampness and the humidity in the basement area, which I think is going to be a good scenario. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is these change orders that I know we've had some conversations with them in regard to these change orders, but I just wanted to bring you up to date on where we are with the change orders. Change orders, as you well know, are scenarios that we are confronted with as we go through the construction process that we don't anticipate. They happen on all of these kinds of projects. We have been very fortunate that we've been able to keep them to a minimum. However, we do have a couple of them that are, I want to just touch base with you about. We've had a lot of conversations about the change order in regard to the shoring. Everybody is aware that we had the scenario with the shoring, we had a soil condition that supposedly was not anticipated, and as a result of that, we initially had gotten a change order from our general contractor in the amount of $14,000. We had a bunch of conversations and negotiations and meetings with the general contractor, and then as a result of those, he came back with another number in around $9,800. We have consulted our engineers, and we have now gone back to him with a proposal of $5,800, which we feel is much more in line. That is still in negotiation. It has not been solidified at this point, but I just want to make you aware that that is coming. I think we're going to be in and around that area. We might be a little higher than that, but that is a change order that I will be bringing to you for your approval within the next month or so. There has been one change order that we have actually approved, and that was the modifications to the sump pit. I think I explained to you last board meeting that there was a scenario there where we had a depth problem, and as a result of that, we had to pour a footing, and that was approved for $826, but I just want to mention it to you, that's already been done and approved. There are 2 change orders that I would like the board to approve this evening. One is wood blocking. We had to install wood blocking around the door frames and the window frames. And this resulted because it was not in the specifications, our initial specifications did not provide for a nailing fin around the windows. I don't know why it wasn't, but in any event, it wasn't. So as a result of that, that wood blocking is going to cost us an additional $1,707. We have gone back and forth with the contractor and our engineers, and that has been agreed upon as a fair and equitable price in order for them to install the wood blocking. So I would like the board to approve that. And then the other additional change order involves the concrete pads. Again, they were not in the specifications because at the time we initiated the specifications, we weren't sure that we had to move the antenna off of the trailer and put it on the side of the building. So we had to pour a pad to accommodate the antenna. And then we also had to pour a pad to accommodate the LP gas tanks for the boilers. Again, it wasn't in the initial specifications and had to be done, so it is already completed, and that was a cost of $3,932. And again, we even negotiated this price back and forth. Our engineers has been looked at it, and so.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2 change orders. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I want to make sure that we're following the procurement policy here because we are using this one source of,
It's within the contract, too.
well, we didn't, the contract had specs that were changing. That's,
The provisions for change orders are under the terms of the contract also.
right.
What is the bottom line of all the change orders that we have processed so far? I know that's probably not part of the resolution here.
If you approve these to 2 this evening, we're talking about $39.32, $17.07, and $826.
No, but as you came before with change orders, these are not the only ones, are they?
These are the only ones that I'm asking you to approve. The other,
Right.
I'm going to talk to you, I talked to you about the
Approved them
shoring.
prior.
But he's saying maybe another 6 or so, you know, with that big.
I'm going to talk to you about a couple. We actually have a credit that I'm going to tell you about in a minute, which is actually good.
We still have the shoring one coming up.
Right, that's coming. And that's going to be in the $5,000 to $6,000 range. That's going to be a done deal.
All right, so we have a motion to approve those 2 change orders.
I'm good with it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted.
Okay, there's 2 other issues that involve change orders, but actually they're really not a scenario that we have to deal with. There was a conduit that was installed beneath the parking lot to the trailer when we put the temporary power in, because we took the temporary power off the trailer, and we utilized that power, and we put a conduit in initially that I was told that was going to accommodate the wiring to the generator pad. So in other words, when we initially started the project, we knew we were going to put the generator pad next to the trailer. So the decision was made to trench across the parking lot, and a conduit was placed in there with the anticipation that we would run the temporary wiring from the trailer to accommodate the initial project, but it would also accommodate the wiring to the portable generator, to the emergency generator. What happened was, once we realized that this conduit was in there, it was found out that the conduit was not capable of handling the wire for the emergency generator. So as a result of that, the trench had to be redug and a new conduit had to be installed. And that cost $1,340, which is under negotiation. But in effect, I said, wait, we're not paying for this. So I went to the electrical contractor and said, listen, you're the one that put this conduit in here, and you were well aware of that we were going to run this wire to the emergency generator. And so he said, okay, I understand, it's my fault, I'll eat it. But the fact remains is that I did authorize the re-excavation of the trench. I had to because we had to get it done. So as a result of that, we got the bill for the $1,340. We have since forwarded that bill to the electrical contractor, Aris Electronics, and they are now in the midst of a negotiation battle with the contractor to ascertain what the cost is going to be. We're not going to have to pay it, but I just want to make you aware of it because we were billed for it, but we're not going to pay it, and they are in the midst of a battle, which we're going to have tomorrow morning at their project meeting in regard to what that cost is going to be. But I just want to make you aware of it because we were billed for it.
I think I'm coming tomorrow now.
And the other issue I just want to make you aware of is that when we did the water tap, when we ran the water line to the building, initially we weren't sure that we were going to actually be able to utilize the curb, the original curb cock at the sidewalk that was utilized for the old building. We weren't sure that was going to work. So as a result of that, in the specifications, we had the excavation and the installation of that water line to the water main and a re-tap into the main. We were able to utilize the existing curb cock and the shutoff. So as a result of that, we got a credit from our plumbing contractor in the amount of $1,206. So with all these change orders that I'm talking about, we actually got a credit back from those folks. So, so all of that money I just asked you to approve, you can give $1,200 back. I think that's it.
I guess Pete wants to know when he can move in.
Well, right now, we're still looking at mid-April, as of right now. I'll know better tomorrow when we have the project meeting. I mean, this weather actually, obviously, didn't help us. When we had the 2 snowstorms, we were actually doing really well. Quite frankly, I was a little disappointed in the fact that we did not have the, we had 11 days in order to get this roof on. And I was very disappointed and made it very known to our general contractor that I was disappointed in the fact that we were not able to secure the roof in that time frame. So, but in any event, it is what it is. And we got weather and,
You didn't get anything for your disappointment, though, did you?
He wouldn't tell you. I'm sure he wouldn't.
they're a lot nicer to me now. That's about it. But I mean, things are going well. You know, we're past the tough spots. Right now, everything is pretty much in line. Everybody's ready to go. Once we get this building secured from a watertight standpoint, things are going to actually go fairly rapidly. I'm real confident. The people are working together well now. We're kind of over the, you know, the bumpy road. So.
Okay, thank you, Wayne.
Okay.
All right, next item is dog report. This is the dog report for the month of November. On 11/14, Roger had a complaint of dogs barking at 7 Seymour, and he went over there. He did not hear any dogs barking at that time, and no one else had complained from that area, so he didn't really have any way to just pursue it or justify it. There was a dog reported missing. People must have found it because they have never called him back, and he did not find a dog roaming. He hasn't seen any dogs running at large and hasn't picked any up, so everything's good on that front. Okay, tree commission, we're all set. Website, anybody got anything on website? Howie?
Well, actually, one small thing. I had to put a new email address in today, and I wanted to erase my old one, and there was no way to do that.
You can't do it.
Can't do it.
I'll call Dick and have him change it. The one you sent me in the email this
Yeah,
afternoon,
yeah,
hvcrr.com one?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I put it in the system, but now I have 2. One of them which is not working.
Well, there's one listed on the website. We'll take that one out and have him put the new one in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I go back to the tree commission quick?
Nope. We got it?
It's something that you and I, we officially looked
Go ahead.
at. The The tree on the Bantha property across from the Terrapin, near the crosswalk, the tree commission recommends that we do take that down. And I know it's a safety issue. It's buckling the sidewalk, and it's also kind of hiding the crosswalk sign, so I make a motion. I don't know if I have to make a motion that we,
What about the one on West Market? By Frankie Samus, did you talk about that one?
yeah, they didn't look at that one yet, but,
All right, well, Tony hasn't gotten me.
Yeah, I
I
don't-
don't think he's gotten me the thing for the sidewalk yet.
no.
I'll have to check with him, but, yeah, have them look at that one.
Okay. Yeah, I told him to look at that one.
All right, now, the one over there on the,
Minton's?
no, across from the Terrapin,
Yeah.
where's the power line? On the other side of the road?
No, they're on that
No, it's
side.
on the same.
They're on
Can we
that
get
side.
Chancellor Hudson to take that down?
We can ask them.
Yeah, have Mike talk to him.
Okay.
What happened to our little fluorescent safety markers on the crosswalks?
We pull them out. They gotta come out for the winter because of snow plowing.
Okay,
Took them back out to the highway garage.
good.
That's part of the DOT's
I
requirement.
thought they met a bad fate or something that,
Yeah, no,
I won't say anything.
that's part of the DOT's requirement. You gotta remove them in the wintertime.
Okay.
Check into that link for me for the solar panels.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay?
I gotta call.
Write yourself a note there.
Yeah.
Okay,
How much power, how much are we saving here, actually? And I know we generate a lot of electricity.
Well, that's what I wanted to get, I wanted to talk to
stop in
Lisa.
the office Friday, I'll show you the thing.
Okay.
Well, you wanna know how much money we're saving?
No, I
right?
want to see if we actually,
I can show you how much we generated.
It's supposed to be
I wanna,
30,
what I wanna do on Friday, I wanna get the bills out, and I wanna see how many kilowatts we use.
Yeah, yeah,
And
right.
see how it's
See how it
offsetting,
goes,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
it was supposed to be about 30%, wasn't it? Of the electric bill here?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
we make a lot of energy with these things up here.
Okay,
Yeah.
nothing else on website? Nothing on finance and controls, right?
No, we haven't heard from the comptroller. I
Just
think,
as.
I think we did well, but I don't,
The day of the day we had the union mediation thing, was the last day they were here, and I went in and talked with them for a few minutes. And
yeah,
They said that,
same here.
they said at that time that everything looked fine with the clerk's operation. They had the same concern we have about the water department, the fact that we generate X million gallons of water, we only bill for this much, how do we justify the difference? And, we know some of it, well, we're digging into it, and I expressed that to her. I said, we have the same concern you do. We want to know where it all is. So she said at that time, that if there was going to be any follow-up on it, it would be for the water department only. And she said that she wasn't convinced. What they do is take their findings back to Albany. It's perused at Albany, and then they decide what happens from there. And we haven't heard anything.
They called last week. We sent in a few other items, documents from them.
Okay,
We haven't heard from them since then.
all right. So that's where we are with that. Other business, union contract. The union and the village had their mediation on December 18th, right? We
Yeah,
did that?
December 18, yeah.
It was a day-long process, back and forth. The mediator was between the village and back to the union, back to us, back and forth. Stu Waxman, our attorney, was here representing us, and we came to an agreement. And we're very pleased with the agreement that we got. It was a little give and take. They got a few more perks, an extra holiday. We got what we wanted as far as changing the salary increases from a flat cents per hour rate to a percentage. We got the mandatory on-call, which we felt was the most important thing that we needed because we have problems with the wastewater treatment plant being responded to when it needs to be. So all in all, we came out of this very, very well. We did
We also
very
got the
happy. We got an increase in
In the health insurance contribution of 10%.
Yeah, the employees were contributing 5% to health insurance. They're now contributing 10%. A new hire will have to contribute 15%. So we made pretty good steps on it. So the union met yesterday. They ratified the contract. So tonight I am making a motion that the village approve me signing the contract and we'll be all done with it. So is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just have a small question here. Section B in Article 2, it says that the street department foreman is going to be changed in the title, I guess, to a street department supervisor. And I never heard anywhere where a supervisor is a union person.
It's the way it is. Nothing we can do about it. When that union was formed, these people were part of the collective bargaining unit.
That's
The same issue in wastewater.
wastewater and water department.
Every department we have, that's the way it is.
So why did we change from foreman to supervisor?
Just housekeeping.
So it's because of the Dutchess County, the way Dutchess County,
Civil service class.
Civil service classification,
Yeah.
right, there's classification by the county that we had to change it because of,
to make it match.
right.
So, maybe to answer Heinz's question, or to ask my question, can this be negotiated in the future? To
Anything can be
try to get
negotiated
the
in the future.
supervisors
Whether or
out of
not-
the union.
Whether or not you get it or not is another thing, you know? Anything can be negotiated. Should have never happened in the first place.
Now, this supervisor, the reason it is supervisor because it's a higher pay category, is that, no?
No, Just, that's the
Just-
job
just
classification at the county civil service, is supervisor. There's no position for foreman.
What about for the highway, I mean, the water and the wastewater, what's their title?
Chief water
Chief
plant operator,
Chief operator.
and then chief wastewater plant operator. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Okay, next item on the agenda, we have elections coming up in March. Tonight, we need to pass a resolution stating that the polling place for the village election will be on Tuesday, March 19th, 2013. No person shall be entitled to vote in this election unless they are registered with the County Board of Elections and on the county voter registration list. Residents of the village of Rhinebeck must register with the County Board of Elections by March 8th, 2013 to be included on the county list for the March 19th, 2013 village election. If you are already registered with the county at your current address, you do not have to register with the county again to vote. The village of Rhinebeck no longer holds a village registration day. Voting for the forthcoming election shall be conducted Tuesday, March 19th, 2013, from noon to 9 p.m. at the Rhinebeck Town Hall, 80 East Market Street, Rhinebeck, New York. The town hall is handicapped accessible. Submitted by Lisa Biscardi, Clerk Treasurer. That's in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted. Next item is we have to approve the election inspectors. Election inspectors are Daniel Rushton as a machine inspector, David Gelb as a poll worker, and Marilyn Sussin as a poll worker representing the Democratic Party. And Barbara Briggs is a machine inspector, Melody Molinari is a machine inspector, and Mary Sibley is a poll worker representing the Republican Party. I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted. Correspondence. And I guess everybody's aware that there's one less person sitting at this table tonight. We have a letter of resignation submitted December 28th. Dear Mayor Reardon and Board of Trustees, as you know, I was recently elected to the New York State Senate, and I will no longer be able to fulfill the duties of village trustee. This letter serves as my official resignation to be effective midnight December 31st, 2012. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve with you and my fellow trustees. My new role will allow us to continue working together, and I look forward to getting started. Please do not hesitate to call me for assistance at any time. Sincerely, Terry Gibson, New York State Senator. So I need to make a motion to accept his resignation. I move to accept Terry's resignation. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Opposed? So voted. So everybody's aware, that seat will be open for special election at the March election coming up.
So we're gonna basically have two races, right? We're gonna have.
There's the 3 seats that normally expire, plus a
three,
special
yeah,
election.
mayoral, 2 trustees, and then a
Yep.
special election trustee.
Yep.
Do we need to specify that on the resolution we just did?
No.
For,
Seats are open.
okay.
And then, just as a formality, we have a letter here from the Rhinebeck Democratic Committee. They are going to hold their caucus here in this room Saturday, January 26, 2013, at 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And that's all I have for correspondence. You got anything else?
What about this?
That's it.
What about this lady that filed over there?
Nothing. Insurance company handles that. Okay, water and sewer adjustments?
We have a few adjustments here. Two of them to do with the school district, and a part of the adjustment here is for the problem of the way the timing goes, and also, you know, we changed the dates now, and so we don't have to have constant every month and new penalties. So that's been fixed, and then we had a $5.40 of a person who the first time was a day late, and I dropped the penalty. And the same thing with a collection fee, which was also a day late of somebody who had never had any problems before.
Make a motion to approve.
So I make a motion to approve all the penalty removals and so on, and need a second on that?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted. Anything else, Heinz?
That's it.
Okay, vouchers are downstairs. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Heinz seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted. Thank you all.
It's a record.
Laura Linder sent a letter that she has to resign from the Panda Board of Directors due to other commitments. So we do not have a representative from the village board for Panda anymore. So I guess if anybody out there in TV land is interested in serving as a representative to the Panda Board, they can contact the village hall. Do we want to do any type of, I'll do some type of a release on the website?
We're looking for a village resident, right? I mean, we need to be required.
Yep. Okay. Rhinebeck Farmers Market has requested the use of this room on January 16th at 6:30 to 9. We checked the date on that, right? It was available, Lisa? What night of the week is it? It's a Wednesday night. Board doesn't have an issue with that, right? They're gonna have their annual vendor meeting. Okay. That resource recovery letter. Rhinebeck Chamber of Commerce sent 2 thank you letters, one to Rick Dorr from the Chief of the Fire Department and one to Pete Dunn from the Police Department. On behalf of the Board of Directors, please pass along our sincere thanks to the members of the Rhinebeck Police Department and Fire Department who will help with our tree lighting event on Sunday, November 25th. We cannot adequately express how thankful we are that you all provide the invaluable service of closing the street and keeping everyone safe during this community event. Best wishes for a safe, healthy, and happy 2013. Colleen Cruikshank, most sincerely. Got a thank you letter. This actually came through the Dutchess County Fire Coordinator, David J. Alfonso, for Dutchess County. This is December 6th, and it says, Dear Mr. Alfonso, on behalf of the citizens of Nassau County, the Nassau County Fire Service, and the Nassau County Fire Marshal's Office, I would like to thank you and the fire departments in your county for your assistance during Hurricane Superstorm Sandy and the subsequent nor'easter. As everybody's aware, we had sent a piece of apparatus and 6 of our firefighters down to Nassau County and they were dispersed to Long Beach Island to help out. That fire company lost 4 out of 5 pieces of apparatus during the storm, and we were down there on standby helping them out. So this is a thank you letter recognizing that. That's all I have. Do you have anything else, Lisa?
No, I think.
Next item on the agenda is water and sewer adjustments.
Water adjustments, I have 3 of them. One of them has to do with duplicate billing. We fix that. And 2 have to do with meter readings that were wrong and then were later adjusted. Continually have these meter readings issues.
Wait a minute, will you? Okay.
Vacation violence.
Yeah, I just have to sign it.
There's a buyout, that's the request for vacation time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Howard just has to approve. Yeah. Need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to implement the adjustments for the water and sewer, I suppose.
Oh, the sewer in there? Okay.
Yeah, sewer is there also, but it's driven by the.
It's driven by the same thing.
thing. And do I have to specify what they are?
You have to read the amount? Well, as
Yeah.
presented.
The,
As detailed in the report.
Okay, as detailed in the report.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So voted. And vouchers are downstairs, ready to be signed, and we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So voted. Thank you, everybody. Happy?